Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we broke a record in Alabama. As I speak this right now, it is with heat index 108 outside. So I have to stay out of the heat a little bit, as you know, because of my heart condition. So this is going to be shot indoors. But that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. Like you guys that live up north, we're in the dead of winter when it's just bitterly cold and there's nothing you can do but really stay indoors. You work on projects. Well, here in my south, we have this type of summer heat where it's over 100 degrees with heat index and etc. You require no effort to perspire like crazy. And those of us with a health condition, being inside is just a smart thing to do. Getting heat stroke is going to be no fun, and heat exhaustion either. So it's time to work on summer projects. Now, one of the projects that I did was, as you know, in my haversack, I carry a Onewind ultralight hammock. This hammock is my go-to for my shelter system and etc. for riding in the haversack. It's small, compact, very light. But something you need to be aware of any hammock system, no matter who makes it. This is a Onewind, but I'm not bad-mouthing Onewind. What I'm wanting to point out to you is, over time, the straps, the cords for the buckles, etc., may age, may weaken over time. Now, this one I have been using for 6 years, at least. And this past spring, I finally had a failure of one of the straps. Out of sheer age of the hundreds and hundreds of times, I've hung on these hammock and had these straps hanging in all kinds of configurations with pine sap got on them, etc. It probably had some bugs gnawing on them from time to time, all kinds of stuff. So sheer over time, I had one of my straps give up the ghost. It didn't snap and drop me. It just frayed out and made a fuzzy, and I could tell that the fibers were giving it up. It was right after a bad thunderstorm. I had hung up between two trees, got my tarp up, and was sitting there. And there was a lot of jerking and yanking as these trees were really working around, and the strap just gave up the ghost. It didn't drop me again, but it's time. So I pulled this set of straps out of another hammock set and replaced them in my little bitty set. So now I'm looking for replacement straps. So I went to the Onewind site and got this set. Now what this is a replacement set for your hammock. And so what I got was a small little ditty bag, and inside of it this time I opted for the ultralight straps as opposed to these straps. These are a whole lot lighter than these straps, and so they're reducing the total weight. And I'm going to give you up close with these in just a second. Also, my buckles and cords that it actually hangs with look really good. No fraying, no sign of damage or anything else. But in the kit comes a brand new set of buckles, and I'll show you these up close. So you can replace the buckles on these hammocks. Because if you have used a hammock extensively, I'm not talking about once or twice a year. I'm talking about this is your go-to, you're using it a lot. This hammock gets set up multiple times a week. It's my favorite. Go out in the backyard and just relax. I grab this hammock, I sling it up. I'm out shooting videos and I need to wait for whatever reason, good light or whatever, I'll sling up this hammock. We're traveling. I've even carried, when I was working, I carried this thing to work with me. And sometimes at lunch I'd sneak out back and go up in the trees and sling this up and take me a little nap during lunch hour. So it's had a lot of use. Being able to replace my buckles on it without it being something sewed in that you can't is a real advantage. Also, I got part of this set is a new ridge line. Now I'll put this up. My ridge line on this thing is perfect. It's got no problems. But if you did accidentally cut or break a ridge line, they have a replacement ridge line. So other than the actual material of the hammock, this is all the hardware you need to re-rig it up. So let me show you an up close so you can see them a little better. Okay, here is the buckle that's been on it for the last 6 years. No fray, no wear. I'm not seeing any deterioration, whatever. So I'm not going to replace it. But I've got a replacement set right here that is a loop of material that you're going to go through and bring it back through itself just like that. All you got to do is take that off and this will go right back on. It's designed to do it with a brand new buckle, brand new cordage. The big win is the straps, because these black straps are a whole lot heavier than these white straps. I mean, physically a lot heavier. When you pick it up, one of these, just one of the straps, feels about the same as the two. So it's around half the weight. And yet this is just as strong. This is their ultralight set. And you can buy these separately. If you're like mine came with this, they developed these later, you can get these to put it onto it. So, you know, works. And then finally, we have the Dyneema Ridgeline. This is one of them 1,800 pound Dyneema Ridgelines. Like, come on it. So should mine ever get damaged, this one's going to go in the toolbox. So mine ever get damaged down the line, I got a replacement to fit onto it. And this probably fit on my other hammocks as well. They're similar size, so always good to have a spare part. Now, if you have a hammock that you've had hanging up in the backyard for 6 or 7 months or whatever, you have to understand that the silky, light parachute material or any of the nylon, now there's a 12 names for what hammocks are made out of today, but it's some sort of rayon, nylon, whatever. It's a chemical that's turned into some sort of fiber that we create. Okay, nobody's making a, well, they are, but you know, a canvas hammock. If it didn't grow, it's some sort of nylon or thereabouts. I know that I'm wrong because there's some magic name in this sil nylon or whatever, but it works the same way. All of this stuff is subject to UV damage. So if you leave that hammock set up in the backyard because you just like to go out there, you know, after work and stretch out, and I don't want to take it up there, I'm just going to leave it up. Plan on the fact that it's going to deteriorate over a year or so. How long? There's no way of telling. But what's happening is UV breaks down any of the materials on any hammock like that, no matter who the manufacturer is. And so eventually, you know, some will break down faster than others. I'm not saying you can't get one with some sort of coating on it. They may buy time, but eventually they all become brittle and they all begun to break down. And you're going to sit down and it's going to take you to the ground because it's going to split. So it just makes sense to upgrade. Now, I had been using my straps for 6 years, heavily. So it was simply time. And I knew it was time, to be honest with you. I could see wear patterns in it. I could see where pine sap had got on it. I could see where some fibers had broke here or there over so many years, over so much use in so many conditions and things like that. And I should have replaced them sooner. I'm lucky it didn't take me to the ground. But it didn't. It held up. And so now I've got an opportunity to replace it with another strap that's actually lighter than my original. So now this going back into my kit is going to be less weight in my total kit this way. And drop down the weight of my overall kit in my haversack. When I picked up the white straps, I actually thought, when I actually picked up the white straps, I thought they were wrong because they were too light. But I have since gone and double checked, and yes, that is the correct strap. That's what comes standard in it today as the ultralight set, not these heavier sets. Now, I've got extra, that's what these were. This was an extra set of heavy straps that I've got for my full size 12 foot hammock that is my major camping hammock. And that's the one that's got the big bug net, the big huge tarp, the big everything. That's where I'm going and setting up for a week. You know, I'm going to set that up. That's my house for the next several days with my hammock and etc. in it. And these are the backup straps because I got 2 sets of straps for that. So they'll go back into that position. How often should you change out nylon gear and stuff like that? Well, the simple rule of thumb is, you know, when you get new nylon whatever, be it like this little ditty bag or a tarp or whatever, when you first get it, it's like silk, right? It just, you water it up and you let go and it just springs right back. It's like it's wet almost. Over time and UV exposure, it'll become more and more stiff. It'll get to where you can bend it and let go, and you'll see a crease, like, you know, when you draw your fingernail on a dry skin and you'll see a line, you'll start seeing a line. That's telling you that the fibers are starting to get brittle. And so it's about time to change out your tarp or whatever. It's not just hammocks, but any of the sil nylon-y stuff. When it gets to where it's not acting that way anymore, time to start thinking about it. And that's going to depend largely on how much you use it, how much exposure it gets to sunlight, and how much pure use it was. This little hammock, my friend Dan Lutz took a nap in this hammock. And Dan was 6'8", right at 400 pounds. And he took a nap in this hammock at one of my events. I had it hanging up for me, right there where everybody was hanging out at, next to main camp. I thought, I'm going to run to the bathroom, I'm going to come back, I'm going to take me a little nap. And that sap knocker got in my hammock while I was gone. And I come walking up and he said, "What's up, boy?" And just pulled his hat down. My friend, I still miss him. But the thing about it is all of our gear has a life expectancy of it. Now, some things are in decades, if not hundreds of years, and some things are not. So, it's the summertime, it's the heat. Now's the time, during the heat of the day, and you got that day off, and you're not working on the honey-do list or whatever, now's the time to pull out that gear and go through it. And any weaknesses, any whatever, now's the time to make an honest assessment. Check all your lighters. Make sure you got fluid in them. If you in doubt, get you a new Bic lighter and throw in there. Go through your tinder bundles. Make sure you got proper tinder. Make sure your fire steel hasn't oxidized or something like that. Go through your haversack. See if it needs repair. That little hole that you got when such and such, is it starting to spread? Do I need to fix it? Do I need to sew a patch on it? Do I need to go to the fabric counter and get something called, it's a fabric glue. Just go talk to the ladies up there. And it's a type of like super glue you put on fabric, and it will harden but be flexible. And therefore keeps things from running. If you don't know how to sew, but I don't want this hole to waller out, go look at that. That may be a way to go. Summertime in this heat, we're about 10 weeks away right now from fall and more camping. That'll be the big camping time for me. Fall, winter, and spring are my big camping areas. Summertime, because of health issues, the heat. I love to camp. I'd rather be out there every month of the year camping out. But the truth is, the heat gets me. And it's just not responsible to risk because I'm very susceptible to heat stroke. And so I've got to be aware of it. And like right now, it's 108 degrees with heat index out there. I got up super early. I did the things I needed to do. And then now at 11 o'clock during the heat of the day, come inside, get in the AC, work on projects. Doesn't mean I got to give up. It means I got to just be smart and focused. So today, we're changing out the straps in this and my haversack set. I have other projects I want to work on. And you need to make a list. Now's the time to jot down that list and work through it. So 10 weeks from now, when the cool winds return and we're able to be out there and we're able to camp, our gear is ready to go. And what is it 10 weeks from now? That's when it's going to be time to harvest tenders, isn't it? Fall is tender harvest time. So I want to make sure everything's ready to go. So when I get back out there, I'm ready. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.